A lot of people are buying peptides in injectable form from who knows where.
Which is so scary.
Yeah, and some of these companies I think are reputable, and some of them, who knows, they pop up and go away overnight. When you start injecting things into people, you can't really pull it out. So you're in for the ride, right? If somebody takes too much GLP-1, have fun for the next week or so, right? Until the half-life's over. I'm a big fan of going slow and low with things. So in the idea of these being in capsule form, I just tell people start with one a day. Let's see how we do. I might go up.
Teach us about peptides from the basics.
So peptides, as we know, are strings of amino acids, right? And so in their basic form, and amino acids are bound together by peptide bonds, and we have peptides. So they're short molecules. Some of them are longer, some of them are shorter, some of them you have to inject, some of them are big enough to withstand our stomach acid, and we can take them orally. Some of them have been pulled off of our ability to prescribe them by the FDA in the fall of 2023. We lost several of them. All of them seem to be available on the gray market. So a lot of people are buying peptides in injectable form from who knows where.
Which is so scary.
Yeah, and some of these companies I think are reputable, and some of them, who knows, they pop up and go away overnight, so it's hard to say. There are different delivery forms that they're trying to get through, topicals, patches, you name it. All the versions are out there. And I feel like right now we're in the Wild West. And so some of them are healing and anti-inflammatory. Some of them are regenerative. Some of them are going to stoke your own growth hormone to, blip at the correct times during the day. You take some of them at night. You take some of them throughout. I have played with most of them, and I think that they're amazing. But just like I tell my regenerative medicine patients, none of this works if it's not a healthy body already. All of these things work best in a body that's already sort of what I call doing all the things, right? They're optimized. They've got good muscle mass. They're eating a nutritionally dense diet. They're going to bed on time. They're drinking water like an adult, all the things. And that's when peptides really optimize and sort of sweeten the deal. I think the problem that we're seeing right now is people are throwing peptides at everything, hoping for some kind of miracle. And I think when you put it into your sort of standard American inflamed body, they don't do a whole lot of much. And it depends on the person. And in fact, they might actually, I'm concerned I've seen bad side effects from them with patients.
Like what?
You can get swelling. You can get sort of a deep internal swelling. You can, theoretically, some of these stimulate either directly or indirectly VEGF, which is a pro-grow. That's the molecule that our body makes, or that cancer tumors make when they want to metastasize. And so I just think in the hands of somebody skilled, it's great. Going slow and low and safe is great. As part of a comprehensive treatment plan, wonderful, with a doctor who understands integrative medicine. But the way it's happening on the internet right now is crazy. It's just left and right. People are just buying them and shooting them up.
So it's crazy to me. Can you tell us, you said there are different types of peptides. Can you teach us what different types there are out there? And I know they're anti-inflammatory, some, a lot of it regenerative. Can you tell us what they are?
And how you choose which ones to go with your patient.
Sure. So we have a couple that I think are really approachable that come in oral form. And I like that because when you start injecting things into people, you can't really pull it out. So you're in for the ride, right? If somebody takes too much GLP-1, have fun for the next week or so, right? Until the half-life's over. So some of the oral ones that I really like that we can't do injectable anymore are BPC 157. That's a really popular one.
That's the most popular.
That's like the Wolverine peptide that helps you regenerate. I think that one's really wonderful. I do think you can take a little bit too much and start to get swelling. So whether it's an external swelling or an internal swelling, patients will report stiffness in their wrists or their ankles, headache maybe. I've even seen stiff neck come from it, and we just backed off the dose. And so I think that it's, who knows
what's the half-life when you inject it?
It's in and out. That one's pretty quick. I don't know specifically, but I just know from experience that, you remove it and it's one of the ones.
Days.
It's one of the ones you do daily. I think that's a really nice one orally because it also helps heal the gut lining, and I think all health goes back to the gut.
Okay, and so that one you would say is for inflammation and the gut lining, and you just would give that to pretty much anybody?
Anyone trying to heal. So if we're trying to heal up a gut, that's a great place to start with a patient. When you're trying to heal up a gut, give them some BPC 157. I think anyone who's trying to heal a musculoskeletal injury or complaint, it can work. It doesn't always work. Sometimes people say inject it around the area, although we're not able, I can only speak to the ones I can prescribe legally, and that one we cannot do injectable anymore. So I like it orally. I think it does a nice job. Its buddy is TB 500, which is also that's kind of the regenerative duo. That one's oral as well. I think that one's very nice.
For what?
Same
thing.
Same, just kind of the anti-inflammatory regenerative impact. And they both work a little bit differently mechanistically, but at the end of the day, I think they double up nicely.
How long do you do it for? Let's say post-op.
I like cycles. So because I want things, for one, I don't want people on anything indefinitely. If this is an issue, they're all pro-grow, right? Like at the end of the day, they're all pro-grow. And when I was doing regenerative medicine in my clinic, I had to tell people when I was using exosomes and other things, like these are pro-grow. I think that should be part of the informed consent. So what does that mean? I don't know necessarily. We don't have long-term safety studies. A lot of these peptides have only been tested on rodents. They're not FDA approved.
And how do you know the dosage?
Depends on the patient. I really don't like standard dosing. I think that we're all different and we're all different sizes. And I am a big fan of going slow and low with things. So in the idea of these being in capsule form, I just tell people start with one a day. Let's see how we do. I might go up. It depends, are they a rhino or are they sensitive Sally? I don't know. What are we trying to heal? What are we trying to do?
When you say you cycle them, how often?
Depends on what I'm going for, but I think in general, we could safely say a bottle of tea. I have never seen anybody go through a full bottle of BPC 157 without it being in a couple cycles. And so I would say as short as 10 to 14 days. I might take somebody longer depending on how they're responding.
Patients who are on it for years.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
And when I call their physician prescribing it, I always say, because I keep a list of medications for my patients, and I call this one doctor, I text him, I'm like, can I please have, I want to know what's in this injection because my patient has lost 40 pounds. It must have some GLP-1 in it. But he doesn't do it because he says it's proprietary to him.
Oh,
and then my patients don't know what they're injecting. So, and they've been on it for years.
So I'll tell you something that's happening right now, and this is pretty shady. There are gray market. When I say gray market, I mean these are research labs. So these are for research only. These are the places where people are buying peptides online, injectables. There are gray market companies. I've just learned of this, and I don't really know what to make of it. There are gray market companies selling research peptides, not pharmaceutical grade, research grade. And who knows how clean. Some of them have a certificate of analysis and they look very clean. I don't know. We don't know where they're coming from. They are selling only to healthcare practitioners, doctors, clinics, because I got a call from a colleague and she's like, oh, she's talking about injecting BPC 157. And I said, we can't do that anymore. Where are you getting that? Like what compounding pharmacy are you finding that at? She's like, oh, I'm getting it from this place. And this place, I looked into it. They're selling these doctors' clinics, gray market peptides. And then these doctors are sometimes slapping their own labels on it or mixing them up. And they're reconstituting them for patients and sending them out the door.
So why was it pulled by FDA?
I don't know. They did some kind of secret meeting and we lost a bunch of peptides overnight.
Oh, really?
Things that have been on the market in the compounding world for years. So I don't know what happened.
Was it because patients were getting healthier or was it because cancer was growing?
Probably the former. That's usually it, right?
We've got those two. So give us some other ones.
I think a third one that is also oral, and these are available over the counter in supplement forms, is KPV. That one's anti-inflammatory. I think that one's really nice if we're trying to go anti-inflammatory systemically, anti-inflammatory of the gut, someone with joint pain. I think that's a really nice one. I think that one is the least concerning of the three as far as long-term use. I like that one.
And these all three are over the counter.
You can get these over the counter. They're not cheap, but neither are the injectable or the prescription.
I don't understand. I'm sorry. I keep going back to this because all my patients are injecting themselves with these peptides.
Some of them still are available. We still have several.
Well, we have some.
It depends on the compounding pharmacy and who's got what. So I can't really speak to that because I don't know what, I don't know where everyone's getting everything. I just know that a lot of these, because I was wondering too how some of these doctors are getting their hands on some of these. And I think it's this gray market. And I've seen videos on TikTok of them reconstituting them in their clinics and then dispensing them to patients. And I'm like, that's not on our formulary anymore. So
what are some of the ones that you inject that you like?
So there's tesamorelin. You can inject. That one is actually FDA approved for visceral fat in HIV patients. So that one is great for body composition, and they'll use that concurrently with a GLP-1. So we can get some fat oxidation going. Sermorelin another one. That one's readily available. You can get that sublingually. You can get that injectable form through a compounding pharmacy. And so that is in that same category where it will help with body composition. There's ipamorelin. Those are all kind of together. So those are still available from what I understand. And it just depends on who you're using it for and what you're trying to go for or what's available.
So can it be used for anyone who's obese or overweight, like with visceral fat?
So I think of those going together with the GLP-1 so the GLP-1 is going to help you optimize your metabolic health, which is going to help with fat distribution. It's going to help you obviously with appetite control. My goal is never suppression, just control. But then we have to start thinking about fatty acid oxidation and how can we get some of the fat off. So the belly fat, yes, I think those three are in that category. So you can play with those three.
Which is the one that makes your body produce its own growth hormones?
So that would be that category. So we get this pulsation of natural, or it's not a growth hormone itself. It's a growth hormone stimulator, if you will. So it helps your body pulsate the growth hormone. So I like ipamorelin at night, for instance. I think it's a nice one at night. It can help with body recomposition. It can help with sleep. So that's a good one. Tesamorelin I found to be a little too swelly. I found people get a little too swelly on that one. I have not been impressed with sermorelin. It just hasn't like moved the needle. But I will say when you're putting these in bodies that are not doing the work, we don't get very far. We really don't. I just haven't seen it move the needle the way that everybody's advertising it as like some miracle. I'm like, yeah, if you're doing your Pilates and you're doing your strength training and you're doing your walking and you're doing the things, yes, but.
Well, it's the same thing with GLP-1s. I mean, it's,
But GLP-1s work even if you lay in bed.
Yeah,
that's the opposite. That's the problem, right? It destroys your.
But you end up looking like a skeleton because you have no muscle. You're not. If you don't eat protein and you don't lift weights and you take GLP-1, you might be losing all this weight, but you're also losing all your muscle. So it's the chicken and the egg.
What about NAD or exosome?
Okay, NAD is not a peptide. It's a vitamin, basically. I mean, I think of it as, as in that it's part of our Krebs cycle. So that is for energy. That is going to help us keep the Krebs cycle going, which is going to help us produce ATP. It's nice. I think it's nicer. I really enjoy it subcutaneously. I know people who do it intravenously. I feel like that is expensive. I feel like I don't love I used to do a ton of IV therapy. I don't love doing it anymore. I think it's too unpredictable. You never know when someone's going to have a hard time, and that really sets the whole clinic back. And obviously there's risk involved, but it's just not fun when a patient's having a hard time with an IV. Totally agree with them. Microdosing was never intended to be a weight loss strategy. And in fact, I'll tell you the truth, it is not an effective weight loss strategy. I have said this from day one. I have been completely clear from day one. If you go back and watch any of my content, if you watch any of the other podcasts that I was on over the past year plus, if you watch my free 4-part